Well, when Rocky joined the Bumbling Brothers Circus, he never thought he'd wind up tied to a stake by a band of hostile Indians.
Oh, well, that's showbiz.
Soon, Big Chief come. Decide what we do with you.
Well, if he don't hurry, there's only one thing he can do with me.
Huh?
Serve me with an apple in my mouth.
Both networks say no cannibalism on TV.
Oh, it's all right to talk about it. You just can't do it.
That network, all right. All talk, no do.
Meanwhile, Bullwinkle, who had been chasing a disguised Boris through the desert, saw the glow of the fire and headed toward it.
That must be him. Should be just on the other side of this big Rocky.
Bullwinkle!
Looks like they're giving you a big league hot foot.
Squirrel waiting for Big Chief to get here.
Well, I'll go see if I can find him. Oop.
You wait too.
Well, if you insist.
But our boys didn't have to wait long.
It's him, Big Chief, skunk who walk like man.
You Sarret. How? And like that?
Blackbird capture squirrel, like you say. Moose just ad lib.
Hey, what's all this about, Rock?
I told you I knew why it kept raining on our circus.
Yeah? Why?
Because those Indians are rain dancers is why. And that big chief fella's been following our circus, doing rain dances every time we wanted to put on a show.
And now we're going to make big sacrifice to Great Spirit. Toasted moose.
And the Indians set fire to the branches underneath Bullwinkle.
Now we have big celebration.
It looks bad, Bullwinkle.
Oh, what the ding-dong, Rock. No use spoiling the party. Live it up, I say. Hey, fellers. A celebration like this just don't happen every day.
You crazy, Bullwinkle.
So let's have a ball. Come on, chillin'. Everybody dance.
And hauling out his trusty hummercomb, Bullwinkle struck up a lively tune. Immediately, the Indians began a wild dance.
Oh, poor Bullwinkle. He's crazy with the heat.
It certainly seemed so, but the musical moose went on playing as the flames leaped higher and higher. And then suddenly...
Bullwinkle, it's raining.
Of course. These Indians are rain dancers, aren't they?
Hey, that's right.
And I figure by now, they got a good cloud burst whipped up.
It's raining. The fire's going out. Stop the music.
Too late. The fires were out cold.
You plenty hep moose. Blow crazy comb.
Thanks a lot.
We gonna miss you.
Miss us?
Sure. Big Chief say sacrifice. He mean sacrifice.
You Sarret, sport.
That voice. Where have I heard that voice?
Maybe he's that Kimosabe feller.
No, he'd have a masked rider with him.
You mean like me, darling?
Great gobs of goo rock. It's him or her.
Okay, boys, ready with the bow and arrows.
They're gonna arrow size us, Rock. What can we do?
Nothing.
How come?
Because the masked rider and the faithful Indian friend are always on the side of law and order.
You mean...
I don't know how it happened, Bullwinkle, but we must be the bad guys.
Funny, we're not wearing black hats.
And Boris's band of Indian archers drew a bead on our two heroes. Don't miss our next harrowing episode of... That's a good one.
Come on. It's the end of the episode.
Oh, boy.
The next episode is Flaming Arrows.
Poor Bullwinkle meets his match.
Harrowing episode.
Once in a kingdom there was a king who was such a great king that he was fit for a king. He was handsome and brave, his castle was paid for, and he had the pink slip to the royal carriage. He even had a swimming pool shaped like a swimming pool. But for all this, he did have one little fault.
Oh, honey, dearest.
Whom is it you wish, sire?
My wife, the queen, that's whom.
But, sire, you're not married.
Oh? Maybe that's why I can't find her.
Yes, the king was absent-minded and couldn't seem to remember anything. He had forgotten to ever marry. Knowing that every king should have a queen, he discussed the matter with his prime minister.
What shall I do?
Get married.
If I'm ever going to have a queen, I'll have to have some help.
So saying, he took a wishbone from his pocket that he had been saving for just such an emergency, snapped it, got the biggest half, and said his wish.
Help!
With that, there was a tinkling of tiny bells, a blinding flash of light, and a beautiful blue fairy appeared.
I'm a magic blue fairy, and I can help you get a queen.
I am all ears.
I know, but I can still help you get a queen.
Taking the king to a golden chariot, they soared up into the sky, raced among the clouds, and finally came to rest in a deep forest.
Well, it's a nice way to travel, but you'll have to admit, those landings are a little rough.
Now, I noticed that.
Now, where is this beautiful princess who is to be my queen?
She's a lovely princess, and she's in that castle on yon mountain.
Good. Let's go get her.
Well, first you must slay the terrible giant who lives in the woods.
Bye.
Hey, wait! With this magic sword, you can defeat him easily.
Well, that was encouraging, and the king bravely entered the woods, where he soon came face to face with the giant.
Yourself. Now stick 'em up.
The king could have simply slain the giant on the spot, but for one thing, he had forgotten the magic sword. The giant gave the hapless king a terrible beating.
He threw you nearer the castle, so you passed that obstacle. You were lucky.
Yeah, lucky. Now let's go get the princess.
Hey, not so fast. Next, you must pass through the huge, vicious thorn bush that surrounds the castle.
I could never get through there.
You can when I tell you the secret, and that's to be brave, for the thorns will part to let a brave man pass.
Oh, yeah. Well, then, that sounds easy enough. Stand back.
He ran headlong toward the vicious thorns, but also running true to form, he forgot to be brave, chickened out, and...
Did it again, eh?
Yeah, looks like.
Well, never you mind. I'll just wave my magic wand and make those old vicious thorns disappear. There we go.
Hey, why didn't you tell me you could do that before?
Well, you didn't ask me.
Well, anyway, now we can go in the castle and get the princess to be my queen.
No, not quite yet. First, you must do away with the wicked witch that guards her.
Problems. Why so many problems?
It's the breaks, boy. Beautiful princesses just don't come easy in these fairy tales.
Yeah, I know. Well, okay, what's the gimmick with the wicked witch?
I'll give you a magic word that'll make her disappear.
And that is?
Thundervogel.
Wouldn't you know it? Me with a lousy memory.
So, armed with the magic word, the king ran into the castle and...
Ha-ha! Now, you wicked witch.
Hold it. I'm the beautiful princess. That's the wicked witch over there.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Ha-ha! Now, you wicked witch.
So, a handsome king who dares to enter my castle, eh? Well, just for that I'll turn you into a toad. Higgledy-piggledy, my black hen.
Stop!
What for?
For I have a magic word that'll make you disappear. And it is,
Well, get on with it.
Thundervogel!
It was a miracle. The king had remembered the word, and the wicked witch disappeared in a cloud of green smoke. But so happy was the king by the fact that he finally remembered something, he completely forgot why he was there.
Yippee! I remembered!
Weeks went by, and of course, the absent-minded king did not return to his kingdom, for he was unable to remember which kingdom was his. Finally, he chanced to pass a lovely young girl from whom he asked directions, and when she put her dainty finger to her chin to think over the question...
Pardon me, but I can't help noticing that you have a string tied around your finger. What's it for?
To help me remember.
Remember what?
I don't know. I forgot.
The girl, it seemed, was as absent-minded as the king, and needless to say, there was such a common bond, they fell in love. And so it was that, what's his name, married, what's her name, in Who's It, and they lived, life happily ever after.
Hi, poetry people. Today's poem is the saga of a singing waiter, Tommy Tucker. That's me. Little Tommy Tucker sings for his supper. What shall he have? Brown bread and butter. How shall he...
Waiter?
Sir?
How's the Irish stew tonight?
Oh, the taters are old and the meat is a fright. Everything is left over from Saturday night. We sweep it all up, put it into a pot, and tell you it's real Irish stew that we got.
What about the chicken liver?
Way down upon the Swanee River, far, far away, 2, 3, 4. There, they embalm our chicken liver, and that's what you get today.
Maybe I'll just have salad with Russian dressing.
Russian dressing! Tomatoes, beets, and ketchup. We used to make it red. Just put it on your salad, and you'll wish that you were dead. Hey!
Psst. Tommy Tucker, I got something for you.
What is it, boss? My brown bread and butter?
No, this.
How about that? 5 minutes on the job, and already I got a raise.
Hello out there, Peabody, Wayback, and Loser here. The loser is Sherman. Tell them how you got the black eye, Sherman.
I ran into a door.
Oh, come now, Sherman.
It's true. Eddie Dorr. He lives across the street.
It seems you could profit by some pugilistic instruction.
Huh?
Boxing lessons.
Oh.
With that in mind, we shall set the Wayback Controls for London, England in the year 1867.
Who are we going to visit?
The gentleman responsible for the rules governing modern fisticuffs, the Marquis of Queensberry. Although we'd used the Wayback extensively in the past, it hadn't lost any of its punch. For there we were, inside Foot's Athletic Club. Standing in the center of a boxing ring stood the Marquis of Queensberry himself, and what appeared to be two pugilistic contenders.
You've heard my rules, gentlemen. See that you abide by them. Ready, set, proceed.
With that, two combatants dashed pell-mell at each other to engage in a most graceful exhibition of the minuet.
They're not fighting, Mr. Peabody.
Keen observation, Sherman. The exhibition lasted 2 hours, and when it was over, we quickly cornered the Marquis.
I should like to devise rules for boxing, but I've never been in a fight in all my life.
We can fix that, Mr. Queensberry.
Sherman grabbed a bucket of water and handed it to the Marquis.
You see that fellow standing in line over there? Pour this bucket over his head.
Willing as they come, the Marquis went over and followed Sherman's instructions to the letter.
Oh, you did that.
I did. Why do you ask?
Here it comes, Mr. Peabody. He'll get it for sure.
But instead of hitting him, the fellow shook hands.
Oh, thank you, mate. I've been standing in this ruddy line all day waiting to take me shower. Now I've had it, and I can go see my Daisy.
That having failed, Sherman suggested we adjourn to the Epsom Downs racetrack.
The horses are rounding the far turn and heading for the last jump. Oh, Jove, this should be a smashing finish.
Here, Mr. Queensberry, take this detour sign and put it in the middle of the track. Hurry!
Queensberry had just pressed the sign as Sherman had instructed when the horses thundered up to it, read it, made a sharp turn to the right, and ran off directly into the clubhouse.
Who is responsible for that ruddy detour sign?
He is. I guess you're going to give him what's coming to him now, huh?
I certainly am. Here, sir, is a reward of £5,000.
It seemed as though a hold-up had been in progress inside the clubhouse when the horses galloping through had put a timely stop to it. The Marquis was a hero and Sherman was a failure. Again.
Gee, I thought that would work for sure, Mr. Peabody. What do we do now?
We will let me take over. Noticing it was exactly 4 o'clock, I called to a passing waiter.
Your pleasure, sir.
A cup of tea for me, a cup of tea for the boy, and the Marquis of Queensberry would like a cup of coffee. This, of course, was against all English tradition, and the waiter found it impossible to control himself.
All for your tea time, eh? I'll teach you, you blinking traitor.
So far, so good for part 1 of my plan, and wasting no time, I quickly put part 2 to work. Stepping between them, cease! I should like to call it to your attention. This is hardly the place for such activity.
Righto, then. I'll meet you in the gym at 5 o'clock. Gracious. Now I see what you mean by a set of rules for boxing. Chap could get injured this way.
You better dash home, Mr. Queensberry, write some rules, and then get to the gym.
The Marquis heartily agreed. Unfortunately, 1 hour later, he still hadn't arrived with the rules.
That Marquis is a ruddy chicken.
No, he isn't. Here he comes now.
Oh, I'm sorry to hold things up, but I had to pick up this suit of armor.
I seized the rules for boxing he had written, and sure enough, Rule 1 stipulated the combatants could wear any raiment they wished.
Well, if that's the case, I'm going to use this here bloomin' battle axe.
Mr. Peabody, they'll kill each other.
Quick, Sherman, I need a dictionary and a penknife. The knife Sherman had. The dictionary was found in a nearby locker.
What are you going to do, Mr. Peabody?
Whittle! What else? While the Marquis and the waiter squared off to do battle, I whittled the dictionary down into a page and a half. Here you are, Marquis. Here are your rules for boxing.
Must wear gloves, must be rounds of 3 minutes duration. Capital, sir, capital.
You did it, Mr. Peabody. You did it.
Don't I always? We watched in satisfaction as the Marquis and the waiter settled their differences in a gentlemanly fashion.
That waiter's got a neat left hook.
Yes, but this will be his last fight. You see, he'll eventually go into the exercise business and become famous in his own right.
Famous, Mr. Peabody?
Why, yes. His name is James Lawrence Nasium.
I never heard of him.
You never heard of Gymnasium?
Well, Rocky and Bullwinkle finally found out why it kept raining on their circus, all right. It seems they were the victims of an Indian rain dance tribe, headed by Chief Skunk, who walks like a man.
Or as we know him, but is bad enough.
But the information seems to have done them little, if any, good, for in our last episode they were tied to stakes while the Indians prepared to use them for archery practice.
This seemed like pretty chicken thing to do, Chief.
You kidding? I got orders straight from Great Spirit himself.
Oh, what reason he give for knocking off moose and squirrel?
No reason, it's just policy.
That figure. Well, unless Great Spirit gives sign, it all up with those two.
But at that instant there was a rumbling roar, and the ground suddenly began to shake under their feet.
Hokey smoke, Bullwinkle.
Great Spirit angry, Chief.
It feels like an earthquake.
Looks like one, too.
Maybe we not supposed to harm moose and squirrel.
Don't be silly. Look, I'll do it myself.
And Boris loosed a flight of arrows at our friends, but he was jittering so much, and so were they, that every one of them missed.
They got charmed lives.
Charmed lives nothing. They just locked in again.
Luck had little to do with it, for that earthquake wasn't an earthquake at all.
That's sure a lovely sound.
It was really the thunder of a herd of circus elephants dashing to the rescue, directed by Hugo and Igo Bumbling.
I love the patter of tiny feet.
We are coming, boys.
Yeah, hang on.
Don't worry, we're not going anywhere.
And the elephants thundered through the camp, scattering Indians in every direction. In a trice, our friends were free again.
But I wonder whatever happened to the masked rider and his Indian friend.
Ayo, Jumbo, away!
Well, I guess that solves our rain problem, Mr. Bumbling.
Yeah, as soon as we arrange room for these Indians to stay in.
Oh, that'll be easy. If we want a room for an Indian,
We just make a reservation. Ho, ho, ho.
Oh, you know that joke?
We know all Indian jokes.
Who you think right Indian joke?
Indian comedians?
Sure. You never hear of Bob Hopi?
Redskin Skelton.
Felt Silver Hill?
Yeah, come to think of it, I'm part Indian myself.
You Indian?
You never hear of Sitting Bullwinkle?
Good show.
Well, that did it. The tribe agreed not to bother the circus anymore, and Rocky and Bullwinkle were made honorary Indian chiefs.
Now there's something you not see every day, Chauncey.
What that, Edgar?
Indian chief with bushy tail.
Oh, that not so strange, Edgar. Look next to him.
What?
Moose with feathers.
Ugh.
Well, it looked like happy days for the Bumbling brothers Big Top, but it wasn't clear sailing yet. For only a few days later, Rocky was called into the office wagon of Hugo and Igo Bumbling.
What is it, Mr. Bumbling and Mr. Bumbling?
Rocky, you've been in charge of the elephants all season.
Ain't?
Sure.
And you've been working for peanuts.
Right?
Well, if it's good enough for the elephants, it's good enough for me.
Rocky, we got something to say to you.
Oh, no, I don't want a raise.
You wouldn't get it.
Rocky,
You're fired.
Fired? Our Rocky? Preempted, yes. Cancelled, maybe, but fired? Never.
Except this one.
That's impossible. Be sure to see our next indignant episode. It's in the bag, or Rocky gets the sack.